Hi everyone. My name is Elena Huntley, and I'm going to be discussing the video I watched today. The title is "Why Capitalism Causes Crime," and after watching the video, it really made me think about how our economic system really connects the way we view and define crime. So the video really explains capitalism and what it is at its core, and it just built on like competition, inequality, profits, and all of these conditions can actually produce crime. So with capitalism, a small group of people, like the rich, the wealthy, of course, they control like wealth, power, most things that the world really needs and revolves on, while majority of the other people can barely make it through and they work just as hard to get by. So this kind of creates like frustration, struggle, poverty, sometimes that we see most of the time what we see in reality, and also creates desperation. So when they can't meet their needs, they look to crime. Like if someone can't get a stable job, if they can't get a stable pay, if they can't get a decent enough living status out in the world, um, they think it's easier to turn to illegal activity just to survive. And then instead of the situation being flipped around, it gets kind of worse for them in that instance. So this system really sets the stage for crime. And the one thing in the video that really stuck out to me was the fact that like it's not about the part of like looking at the crime as an individual wrongdoing, but looking more at the system. Like, okay, I'm poor, I'm this, but whose fault is that? Because I'm working as hard as I can, but I still can't live at my means. I can't live above my means. I can barely live below my means as well. So and that really just goes on to explain how like poverty and employment and lack of opportunity can really push people towards crime. But people like higher ups, the wealthy, the rich, they can also commit crime as well. Like the system does go either way. You can still commit crime even if you have things handed to you or if things are in your favor, like wage theft, tax evasion, all that stuff. But for them, it's more hidden because they have the big money, they have the big advantage. But for those on the lower side of things, they're brought to light and they're easily punished for. So next is basically about the next idea would be that capitalism shapes who is labeled a criminal. So basically, with that being said, the poor or the unwealthy are normally criminalized for survival crimes because they're trying to survive, while the wealthy are protected if they did the same crime or worse. So we've seen this many times throughout society today, whether it would be Donald Trump being a felon, he is rich and he is the president. He slides by, but if it was someone else, it wouldn't be the same fate for them. And yeah, like you could compare it to like street crimes and corporate crimes. They're not equally weighed the same, and there are different outcomes for those crimes. So the video really does emphasize how the justice system really likes to cater towards those who are already in power and already a higher up standing. So the Marxist lens, like over the entire overview, is really saying that it really is a social and an economic status more than it is a personal morality, like if you're a good person, if you're a bad person. I think that's their whole standpoint is what's your social status and how are you doing financially, how are you doing economically, how are you doing socially. And if we want to reduce this crime, we really have to change the structures of our entire society and really put an end to the desperation and the division in the first place.